We're starting now.
Call the meeting to order, and we need a roll call, and how do we do that with everybody's here?
Yes, I will do the roll call today.
Everybody's here but the chairman.
So, starting the roll call, Albert Graham Jr.,
Here.
Andrew Nielsen,
Here.
Elodie Katz,
Here.
Mike McElroy,
Here.
Bill Marsh,
Here.
Sue Lester,
Here.
Monty Fields,
Here.
Tom Brenneman,
Here.
Shane Smith,
Here.
and Mike Carey is not here. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess the chairman is en route, but he'll be here, I guess.
Yeah.
Expected. And he can take over when he arrives. The next item on the agenda is public comments. And I don't see any public here to make comments, but that was it. So we'll since there's none here, we're just going to go past public comments since there are none to approve the special Citizen Advisory Committee meeting of February 13th. Anybody familiar with the meeting?
I gotta go.
Yeah, I reviewed the minutes. I could move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very detailed.
Opposed? None.
Is that your line? Does a good job.
The next item is the draft board of directors meeting of February 28th.
Mr. Vice Chairman, where staff's available to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions?
Scott, remind us, this is just what we had asked for to bring the board minutes to our attention so we could just be aware.
Correct.
And if you ever thought there was anything especially noteworthy, you bring it to our
Or if there's something you want to talk about, we can discuss it.
We don't need to approve.
No, nothing. No.
Okay, then the next one is the Costa Mesa Sanitary District 75th anniversary update. Who's going to provide that?
I will do that, Mr. Vice Chair. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So, as you came in, you probably saw your shirts. Everyone have your shirts. So, thank you very much for your service, and that's compliments of our ad hoc committee. You're welcome. Last month, we were going to show you some videos that we put together that are airing at the Starlight Triangle Square Cinemas. And in fact, we had some technical difficulties last month, but this month we were able to show it to you. So we're going to show you the 4 videos. The first one we're going to show you is about large item collections. And if you go to the Triangle Square Cinemas, right before the movie airs, you'll see this on the big screen. So let's go ahead and we'll get it started here.
The Costa Mesa Sanitary District. The Costa Mesa Sanitary
Turn it a little bit louder. There you go. There you go.
District is celebrating 75 years of exceptional service. We want to continue protecting the environment by keeping bulky items off the streets and hazardous materials out of landfills. Our customers are eligible for free curbside pickups of large items like old furniture and appliances and household hazardous waste such as old electronics and paint. To schedule a pickup, call CR&R at 949-646-4617.
Yeah, you can do that now. Yeah, absolutely. So that one's airing right now.
We have stuff like that I could probably get rid of.
Yeah, call us or call CR&R and we'll schedule a pickup.
Okay.
So that one's airing right now, about 3 months, I believe, or 2 months?
3 months.
3 months. So after 3 months, the next one here will air in 3 months.
Costa Mesa Sanitary District is celebrating 75 years of exceptional service. We partner with the OCC Recycling Center to collect used fluorescent light bulbs, household batteries, and electronics for safe disposal. Used cooking oil can be dropped off to be recycled into things like soap and candles. The OCC Recycling Center is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily and located on Adams Avenue between Harbor Boulevard and Fairview Road.
Okay. And then after that one, after 3 months when that's been aired, we'll have a third video that will be airing, and that one is this. There you go.
The Costa Mesa Sanitary District is celebrating 75 years of exceptional service. Our organics recycling program creates renewable resources and reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills. District customers can place landscaping waste, such as grass and leaves, into the organics cart, along with food scraps and used cooking oil. It's then taken to a state-of-the-art anaerobic digestion facility and recycled into natural gas that fuels your trash trucks.
And then we got one more video. So these videos will be airing basically for the entire year. Very nice.
Costa Mesa Sanitary District is celebrating 75 years of exceptional service. We want to help you prevent sewer backups that can result in costly damages to your home and sewer spills that pollute our environment. Apply for our sewer inspection rebate program to get rebates of up to $250 for closed-circuit television or $500 to install a ground-level cleanout. Visit cmsdca.gov or call 949-645-8400 for more information.
And that's it. And so my understanding, Director Perry went to the movies last weekend and saw that first video, and he said it looks awesome on the big screen. So hope you get a chance to see it. So.
Is that on just cable?
No, this is not a cable. It's when you go to the movie theaters. When you go to the Triangle Square movie theaters. Yeah, it's shown there. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Is there a way to get it on the local TV channel? Do you know who controls that content?
CMTV, I think.
Why do you
Talk
see
about
that?
that?
And that depends on the carrier you have, but like for me, I have Spectrum and it's channel 3, and it's just like community events, it's just on a loop. I would imagine that they're desperate for content, so you might be able to.
Look at that.
Yeah. Have you guys reached out to CMTV at all?
We did reach out to them. I didn't get a response, so I can follow up.
Okay. After the meeting, tell me who you reached out to, and if I might have another number for you.
Okay.
If you didn't get a response.
Great. Thank you. Any more? If there's no more questions, we can move on to the next item. Is that okay, Mr. Vice Chair?
Did you have any other questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
No.
All right, so we'll go on to item number 4.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you, committee members. So item number 4, I invited our district engineer Rob Hamers to be here tonight. You'll see there's 4 proposals on these display boards. We are planning to rehabilitate the President Pump Station, which is a significant improvements. However, there are 4 options to consider, and a lot of it's due to cost. Also, we demonstrate to you that where it's currently located right now, in fact, let me show you, go to the last tab in the back, Google. There it is. So, you have a pointer? Thank you. So, let's see if I can get it up here. There it is. Okay, so here's the cul-de-sac. There's an alley right here, and the pump station is really right there. You can't see it by the trees, but it's right there. This is Canyon Park all down here. So it's right here. And if you actually go there, there's telephone cables here, and really close to the station. And so there's big concerns from the contractors of, knocking those telephone poles down or the cables down. And it's really tight restrictions. So there's some options here to consider. The last option, which is the one right here, the last board, that was actually recommended by Director Uten to actually put it in the cul-de-sac. And we did have a meeting. Rob will go in more details on those projects. We did have a neighborhood meeting last Saturday in the rain. We were actually there in the rain. It was pouring. Only one person did show up, and he did give us a lot of information. But what was actually really insightful is that we're amazed how much water was coming down here. It was almost like a river coming down here, and this huge storm drain right here. So that really caught our attention and said, okay, is this a good idea? We're still trying to feel that out. Rob will get into more details here. Another concern is the electrical panel. We're considering putting an electrical panel here. We have concerns, obviously, aesthetic reasons. We're in the process of putting a simulation photo together to mail those out to the residents to get their input, and then we'll bring that back to the board. What we're seeking for you tonight is really what alternative you would think is best, and what alternative would you recommend to the board. So I'm going to turn it over to Rob, and he's going to go into details on the project. So.
Scott, can I ask one question?
Sure.
Is the pump as it's currently constituted at the end of its useful life? Or like, what's the impetus for moving it at all?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell.
Okay.
You upstage.
It's, we would have reconstructed it by now, but we were planning on abandoning it, but that project didn't go forward because we needed the Orange County Sanitation District to help. So down the road here, the access alley, and then down here under the trees is where this is. So the existing pump station is this square right there. And the piping comes out and it actually goes up this way. So we came up with 4 alternatives. And let's start with this one. This was alternative 1. This is the Cadillac plan. This is, if you gave engineers like myself to design the best station possible, this is it. This station cost approximately $2.2 million, and it would be complete reconstruction of the station. That existing vault would be removed. These are all underground, all of these. Those are manholes, so that's underground. This is above ground. This is, the only 2 things above ground are really the diesel generator and the electrical panel. And this is the limits of our easement. This is the property 2034 President that most of the easement is on. The property line between these 2 properties goes straight down like this. This is 2034 President, and this is property on State. I'm sorry, I meant National. It's up high, and the house is up a little bit, and there's a slope in the backyard down to the pump station. So the board is asking for your opinion. Which one of these would you like? Okay, so once again, this is the Cadillac, 2.2 million, most expensive. As Scott said, there's a lot of telephone, Edison, cable TV lines over here. So in each of the stations, we have a wet well, a valve vault, and emergency storage vault. Those are the 3 big components. These are manholes on the sewer line. You see those in the street. And this is a meter vault, et cetera, and the park is down here. So that was a little bit more than we had budgeted. We had budgeted $2 million.
That's 2.2.
And this is 2.2 just for the construction. Normally you'd budget the construction cost plus 30%. 10% for contingencies while you're under construction, 10% for the design phase, and 10% for the construction phase, meaning surveyors, electrical engineers, structural engineers do inspections. They draw plans, et cetera, et cetera. So you would be 30% above the construction cost. So at this point, above our $2 million, we would need an additional $840,000 to construct the Cadillac. Our next design was, let's go bring this cost back to what we wanted it to be. Fit our whole budget in $2 million. So this was that alternative. And what we wanted to do was reuse the structure. And then we would put a new valve vault here, a wet well here, a valve vault here. The piping would have to take a U-turn and go back up here. And we already replaced the piping from here all the way to the intersection of Hamilton and Hamilton and Placentia. And that was close to $2 million. So this alternative does not take any more money. It can be paid for as is. Unfortunately, we don't have the plans that built this structure, this is a concrete box. However, all the other concrete structures we have in the district are very well designed, very strong, and they're all still in operation. We've added walls, taken away walls, put in support beams, etc. We would have to do our due diligence with the structural engineer to verify that this is secure and structurally stable. But I think it would come out that way, that it is. Plus, we could put some beams on the inside and shore it up. So,
That's an extra cost then.
Pardon?
That's an extra cost to put it over into the engineer to take a look at it and everything, right?
yes, the structural engineer would have to do some testing on it, and we designed some additional structural members to add additional support.
Ballpark, what would that extra cost be?
This whole pump station as is would be approximately $1.5 million. So this could fit within the $2 million budget. And it's a very good alternative. This is our easement. This is the neighbor's improvements in our easement. So if we go back to alternative one, we're going to have to remove some of their wall. We're going to have, and this piece here, we're going to shave off some of their backyard that encroached into our easement. And the reason it did is because we're not using it right now. Also, we are protecting the easement. Well, it's not really a recorded easement, but now it's a prescriptive easement for the people to walk. Right now, people walk right here. They walk right in here, right into the park. And they come back up the park, and they go here, and then they go down the other dog leg and into the cul-de-sac. So all our designs keep that access available. In this design, the access would be in the orange color, and they would, pedestrians and their animals would walk down here, this way, that way into the park. There'd be an 8-foot wall here, so he has privacy, and we put another wall here so that they don't see the pump station or get any ideas about doing anything to it. So the reason it's orange is we thought we could have a surface of DG, decomposed granite. So, but we can talk about that. So there is access for all three of these to get in and out of the park. Okay, so roughly 1.5 million, reuse this, this does work. This alternative here was to cut down to 2.2 million. See what we can do by just doing a little tweaking. So we took the emergency storage vault from here, we moved it over here. That way we could keep these sewer lines that are already there. That would be a lot less expensive. So this would be close to $2 million. It's almost like the Cadillac, but we just changed it a little bit. And it only cut down the cost a couple $100,000. But that is a lot of money. So this is alternative 3. And it's a good idea to have the emergency storage vault over here. The pedestrians would end up walking over it, but that's okay with us because these are bolt down. Actually, I'm sorry, they would walk like this in this alternative. So they'd come up here, this way, and that way. And we can make the slopes and the width meet ADA. Even though it's not ADA, we can make our part work at ADA. Because this is not ADA down here, and this was not designed to be ADA. This drive approach is not ADA. And this is kind of rough, and the slope slopes exceed ADA slopes, so just because we made this ADA doesn't mean that everything is. Okay, so this is the fourth alternative, which is cul-de-sac, which there's the valve vault, the wet well, the valve vault, the meter vault. We put the emergency storage vault over here because, and the patches in the center of the street so that we wouldn't lose any parking. We designed this for traffic loading, so cars driving over it, no problem. These are all, everything in here is underground. The only thing above ground would be the control panel that Scott mentioned. We want to have it here, and we're about to ask the neighborhood what they think about that. And then the emergency generator would still be down there where the easement is. But that's just a little longer cable. It still provides emergency power, no problem. This is a very fine alternative. And this would cost about $1.7 million. We need to talk to the neighborhood about putting the control panel here. It has a high antenna. You've seen our control panels in city traffic boxes all have a wrap on them that looks nice, some kind of scene from Costa Mesa or other artwork. So it would look fine, but we need to ask the neighborhood what they think about that control panel being there and the antenna and the station being out here before the board of directors really takes it by the heart and makes a decision. So we try to be business friendly and resident friendly. That's why we had a neighborhood meeting. That's why we're going to send out notices to ask the neighborhood what they think about the station being out here. How good is it for us? Well, it's actually very good. Right now, this is only 15 feet wide. Our big trucks, the big combination sewer vacuum and cleaning truck, has to back in all the way down there and down there to get to these areas. However, the field crew is very sensitive about having this out here. They feel like the trucks would be parked out here in the street that might disturb the neighborhood. So they're kind of thinking, they're not really sure they want this out here. So they're getting ready to express their opinion. From an engineering standpoint,
They're not sure they want what out there.
the whole pump station.
Okay.
There are odors associated with pump stations. We know how to mitigate that, and we would. There probably would not be any odors. But if you get down on your knees, right on top of there, you'll smell what a wastewater pump station smells like. So nothing is perfect, but we can abate the odors. And the only other, there would be loss of a parking space here, because wherever we put the panel, we have to paint the curb red so that we're the only ones who can park there. Because in an emergency, we have to open the doors and have direct access to all the controls that are inside the electrical enclosure. So this is 2034. That's the property with the station on it now and most of the easement, and the one we deal with all the time. That person came after the meeting on Saturday, but I stayed and talked to him. A gentleman by the name of Frank lives here, and he showed up. So this resident and that resident came to our neighborhood meeting. And this gentleman would like the station out here, because that frees up a lot of his backyard. This gentleman here kind of wants it back where it is. So I said, you need to talk to you. And then I left. So when we send out this notice of, here's a photo simulation of the panel here and the antenna, and they'll all see the question about, are you okay with this underground station being in the cul-de-sac? Once we get that information, we would be ready to present all 4 of these back to the board of directors for a decision. You are an advisory committee. You are being asked to judge these 4 alternatives and recommend one to the board. So that's what you're being asked to do. If there are any questions?
I have a question. On the first one, the Cadillac one, I thought you said you were going to have to remove some of the neighbor's wall.
Yes,
And that the neighbors already agreed to that?
yes, because we have the right to do that.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
So we
Okay.
kind of said, we need to remove this,
Oh, okay.
but we also are going to, we're not going to make a mess out of this backyard and
Right.
run away.
Right.
And we're going to restore it so it looks nice.
Is there any difference in the light of the stations based on the 4 different plans? I know you're calling that one the Cadillac.
Not
Is-
really.
Okay.
This is going to be an underground, poured-in-place concrete structure. On this one, that one, or that one. This one, we'd be using that concrete structure that's been there since 1953. But we've done that before. They're built very well, concrete and steel, and there's no reason why it's not going to last another 75 years. So all of these parts, the pumps are going to be the same, the controls, et cetera, et cetera. All these parts have life expectancy and have to be redone every so often. Just the way life is. Your cars run out, anything mechanical wears out.
You said alternative 3 is pretty similar to alternative 1.
Correct.
And alternative 3, let me see, that's 2.2, that's
1.5.
1.5. Alternative 3 is 2 million even, and one over there is 1.7.
Nice. Very good.
So
This is 1.7.
That's correct.
you're going to have issues with those neighbors. It seems like the cul-de-sac. I mean, I
No
can't.
doubt.
You know what I mean? It means there's going to have to be trucks out there working.
Oh, and big trucks.
Yeah, I know. And so that might be different.
How long, on the cul-de-sac, how long would the construction process take?
Well, it may take 6 months back here because it's so tight.
Well, I'm thinking,
Over there, probably closer to 4 months.
That's asking a lot.
so those people who live in that cul-de-sac for 4 months will have construction going on.
Absolutely.
And Middle Street.
this
They're
was-
not going to go for that.
This works better if it's right here, but we didn't put it right here because then they couldn't even get into their driveway for.
I would say that fourth one is probably not even worth continuing thinking about because I can't imagine that everybody's going to agree to all that. To have that out in the middle of the cul-de-sac. I live in a cul-de-sac just like that, and I wouldn't want all that going on in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
Plus, when we do something like pull the pumps or do regularly scheduled maintenance, there's going to be service trucks
Right.
and then the big combo,
Right. The vacuum.
double axle, backer truck. That'll all be out there.
Yeah, right.
And
I'm thinking alternative 3.
Now, aside from it being out there, which would obviously be an eyesore, but when the trucks are out there and when the construction was taking place, would all of those neighbors or any of those neighbors be prohibited from using their driveway for any length of time? Or
No.
it would just, everybody would still have access?
right, I think the only thing, in that scenario, we made sure everyone's driveway could stay open. But let me,
You're talking about number 3,
4.
4.
But let me say, when you said eyesore, the only thing to see is the electrical enclosure. Everything else is underground with the smooth metal top.
Except for when the truck is sitting on top of it,
This is true.
which that's kind of what I was referring to
Okay.
as the eyesore.
Right.
The truck's
the-
only there.
The painted panels, I think, are kind of cool.
Yes,
I
those
don't-
are wraps
I
think they go by the stations once a week at a minimum because they test everything.
If I could add, Rob, yeah, they do go once a week, at least once a week, to test the electrical part. We do annual PMs, which we actually go in the wet well, pull the pumps, we replace the impellers, we do all that stuff once a year. That can be quite disruptive.
But the weekly service, they're just there for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, they'll look at the data from the control panels. They'll open the wet well to see if there's anything wrong inside, which could cause odors. Definitely.
Plus we have a valve exercising program. You got to open and close the valves regularly
Right.
or they freeze.
Right.
We have air release valves. They have to be maintained as well. So, and then the control panel, as Scott said. So it's not just one and out. Plus, we clean the sewers. So the truck right now maybe stops there for a little bit, but it's definitely going to stop there some more because we clean the wet well by having the big truck hose it down.
Also, Robbie, if you can show how close the storm drain is to the well too, that's also a concern for us.
The big storm drain, as Scott mentioned, is from like here all the way over to here. It's humongous.
Is that the opening in the curb?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's where all the water goes.
The water comes down this side and goes around there and goes in. It makes a lot of noise.
It's huge. It's like a river.
When
It's
it
huge.
rains, the water runs down and
Yeah.
flows into the flood thing.
It sounds like a river. It's
We're not worried
huge.
about the station because we kept everything towards the middle and the water's never really breached or gone over from one side to the other. We may move this out a little bit further because if all the water's here, we don't want it to get, these are not waterproof doors. We could make them that way, but that's a little more expensive.
And our concern is there's a sewer spill at that station.
Right.
It'll just take seconds to get in the storm drain.
Comes right out, goes
Yeah,
right in there.
it'll take seconds.
Sewer spill down there, it actually goes and sits in one spot and doesn't make it down the road.
Is that an overflow you're talking about?
Yeah, it'll overflow. Right. Yeah.
But
Is there
we
any-
try to prevent that.
Is there anywhere else in the city that has that similar setup, number 4?
No. But, excuse me, not in the middle of a cul-de-sac. We have pump stations on street corners, in the street, next to the street. There's
Yeah.
plenty of them.
Yeah.
And, like, for instance, like the Eldon pump station, you drive by Mesa and Eldon, and you see some things above ground, but you don't know that there's underground stuff that juts out into the street. Canyon Drive, all you see is the electrical enclosure on the side of the street. Pump station's out in the street underground. But we don't have a cul-de-sac where people are that close and that focused in on the pump station. I mean, those people are facing it.
Yeah.
And it's at their front door. And our trucks make noise. They don't turn with engines off
Right.
in trucks. They just get out and leave them on. That's standard procedure. So, yes, it will be something they'll have to get used to.
But they currently go past their houses, right? And back
Right,
into
yeah.
the-
We have
it's
to
not like
back,
they're
we have to back
unaccustomed to
that
it.
big truck up and get it in there, but once we're in there,
Yeah,
we're
once
in
you're back there, you don't hear it the same way.
That's true.
So it's not a problem.
Right, we've never had odor complaints back there
Yeah.
or noise complaints.
I'm less concerned about the noise and the odor than I am about the potential of there being a spill and going into the storm drain. I mean, because you guys generally do your work when most people aren't home, for the most part,
Right, we
unless
got
you
work.
have an
Correct,
emergency
correct.
of some sort, right? I mean,
When what
obviously,
kind of
not
people-
everybody works, I know, and there are people that are home during the day.
And sorry if this was already answered, I'm the only.
Don't worry, all questions are good.
I still didn't exactly hear what's wrong with the current pump
He
station.
wants
Is
to
it
know
just
why
time?
we're doing this job in the first place.
Well, first of all, the pumps are worn out. Second of all, we don't have enough emergency storage time. Meaning, if we lose power, or not lose power, we have a broken line, the pressure line that goes out of the station. If it gets broken, we have to shut the station down. We don't have enough time now to turn the station off or have it shut down without it spilling. We had this happen 3 or 4 Christmases ago. The line that came out of here, it broke here. It broke right there. It took us till, and that was that a Friday?
It was a Friday, yeah, we were there.
Friday.
Yeah.
It took us till Wednesday to completely finish everything. We were diverting the wastewater into open pipes. We had pumper trucks. We had 5,000-gallon tanker trucks and pumper trucks. We borrowed them from cities. We had them come in from the Inland Empire. We were working 24/7. Our inspector worked 24 hours one day out here just to try to get things under control. When that pressure line that leaves the pump station, if that breaks, it's pandemonium because there's such a high flow in it. So what's happening here is that the setup in here is not efficient. So we have to redo the setup. So what we decided to do was try to reuse the structure. This is efficient and this is efficient. By doing these 2 things, we can reuse the whole thing for storage. Gives us more time. So that's really all we're doing, is we're using this as a big holding tank. And most of the action will be in the wet well and the valve vault. So all we're really doing here is refurbishing this and putting a new thing here and a new thing here and some extra piping. That's really all we're doing there.
That's the only one that has that old structure in it?
Yes, the other 3, it's coming out.
Okay.
Question, between number 1 and number 3, where's the cost savings come in on number 3 compared to number 1?
Just, and this, on this one here, the existing sewer line is over here. And the emergency storage vault is on top of it. So we have to move the sewer line. So we grabbed it here and moved it there and then there. So we can't have this all the way over here because the wires are right above it. You can't get a crane in there with the wires so close to it. So we had to get this away from that side.
That's why in 3 you've got it moved over to the side down below.
Very good. So we put it from here down to here and left the sewer in place. So that saved it a bunch. That made it more simple. So that's pretty much Cadillac also. This is even more Cadillac. So that's why they're very close in cost.
But the public easement access to the park is altered significantly with number 3, right?
It's still there. The idea is that we don't remove it's a prescriptive easement, meaning it's not written everywhere, but the public has used it for so long that if we tried to block it off,
They'd win.
they would win, is basically. So he has a prescriptive easement over his property too. This is his property. This is not a public easement, but he allowed the people to go down here and cut through. So he's got prescriptive easement on his property, and so do we. So in all the designs, we're maintaining it. It's just that this one is this way, and this way. There's nothing terrible about that.
And how would the public walk for alternative number 2?
Straight in.
Very good question. They would still come over here, and we could funnel them straight down here, or we could remove that and put them over there.
I think that's the least of the worries, is how they're gonna walk, you know.
Right. One thing that will happen with alternatives 1, 2, and 3 is we're going to have to shut that access down for the length of construction.
Early.
And actually, 4 will also, because right now, flow not only comes in this way, it comes in this way, comes down the slope right there. So if we put the station out here in the cul-de-sac, we have to continue a gravity sewer to here, and then it has to go downhill this way instead of going downhill this way. So we have to put it, so alternative 4 includes a new sewer that will come this way down here and go to there. So not only are we out here, we're constructing in there too.
Now, I know you said that the width, whichever choice you go with, that the width of the path would be ADA compliant, but really nothing else about it is ADA compliant in terms of the grade and driveways.
The grade would be ADA.
Okay, so the grade would be
Now we're just
ADA.
talking about the walkway from here to here.
Okay, and is the soundboard not under any obligation to make
That's correct.
everything? Okay.
We're not under
Okay,
any
you're not under
obligation.
any obligation to do that. I just wanted to make sure somebody was gonna come back later and say, well, you did this, you did this.
This
but
is
you
a
didn't do that."
prescriptive easement.
Okay,
The fact that you have to make a prescriptive easement ADA, that's really stretching.
okay, thank you.
But I'm sure that the ADA folks would say, oh yeah. So,
Oh, sorry. Question on 2, it seems to be the cheapest and the least disruptive. Is the risk simply that the existing structure may not be suitable?
correct.
And what's, if you had to put a percentage chance on that in your professional opinion?
I think we will be fine. And let's pretend that it has a problem, we can just rebuild it.
What would that additional cost be?
300,000.
Would still make it close to the cheapest alternative.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there an assessment that could be done?
I'm sorry?
Is there an assessment that could be done on
The structure?
yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Our structural engineer, who's on the job, very experienced, I went over the whole program with him. There's a procedure, and we go through everything, and we actually, not really x-ray, but we do like an infrared survey, and we can tell how much steel is in there, where are the bars, we can do all. And
That's interesting.
yeah,
Can you tell how thick the bars are by that?
uh-huh.
Wow.
You can tell where they are,
Wow.
which tells us how strong it is.
Well, they're gonna be there. They built it in '53. They don't build them like they used to. But
Correct.
those bars aren't moving anywhere.
All the other stations that we have plans on are extremely well built.
Is that assessment included in the estimate for
Mhm.
two? Okay.
Scott, can you speak to the sand district staff? They would probably prefer the cul-de-sac because it would make their jobs easier, but would it be a cost savings? Is it a huge difference? Is it like a pain in their butt to go and service down the alley?
Well, actually, they do not prefer the cul-de-sac one. They think the cul-de-sac is going to be disruptive to the community.
If
They're-
they
yeah.
weren't worried about the community, would it definitely be easier?
Well, there are a couple concerns. They're concerned that what you don't see in that picture is there's a lot of parking. Well, when you go down there, parking is very limited. And so now, like as Rob said, if we put in a closure or electrical panel right here, we'll have to red curb it. But people will still probably park there, right? And then now how are we going to have access to our electrical panel? So that we had some concerns with that. If you've seen our trucks are quite large. If they're parked in here doing services, it's going to be very challenging for people to get in their homes.
Yeah.
It is going to be noisy.
It's gonna take up the whole cul-de-sac basically.
Definitely. It is going up here on the screen up here. It is challenging for the guys to come down, especially at night because this is pitch black. So, and they come around here, it is challenging. But once they're back there, I think they're comfortable with it. I think they prefer it back there.
That's what I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
They are getting ready to voice their formal opinion to the board.
Yeah, the whole reason why we went back to the drawing board is because alternative one was the plan we're moving forward with. And when we got bids coming in from the contractors, it was a lot higher than we expected because of all the power lines. They're really concerned about those power lines, bringing their big equipment, and they're going to hit those power lines. So that's why we came up with, well, maybe if we do it this way here, well, now that does not exist anymore. But it raised some other issues.
Didn't you say you would build a sewer line down in across the middle of the cul-de-sac right over to the?
Yes,
So you'd be out there with jackhammer tearing up the street,
yes.
Are there?
and then nobody would be able to drive through there when you're doing that.
Well, we have a way of doing a little bit here, a little bit
Okay.
there, and putting a plate over.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But
I was just curious about the streets gonna be torn open. How are they gonna be able to pass by it?
there's going to be a lot torn open, not just for the sewer line. These are, that's going to be a big excavation. That's going to be an excavation.
Yeah.
This whole area right here
It's gonna be-
is a big
Yeah.
excavation, and then there'll be a trench coming down that way, all the way to there.
It's asking a lot of the neighbors.
Now,
Yes.
the board can
Yeah.
decide to do that regardless of the neighbors, correct?
They could, yeah, they could, yes.
Say, we're going with Allen.
Yep.
Neighbors are gonna have to live with it.
Yep, they could.
Well, maybe we should tell the
That's
board,
not gonna make
don't
sense.
do
It's
4.
popular.
I know.
You know,
You know,
but
put the
that's
neighbors
popular
out of their
for you
misery.
So far, you want to keep it that way.
Yeah, that's why we're hoping.
Asking for a recommendation, you could say, not there.
Yeah.
That would be a recommendation,
Yeah.
not out there.
Yeah,
Somewhere back there.
Yeah.
I'm coming back to number 2. What's dark on number 2, is that existing?
No, that's new. This is new, and that's new.
And that doesn't get...
Yeah, both of those.
Power lines are not an issue there?
Yeah, they are. They're-
Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
they're gonna be an issue anywhere back there.
Yeah,
That's
one,
factored into the bid cost?
Yes.
We did this design because Edison told us there's a pole, I'm sorry, the end of line pole is really right here. Even though there's a wire that goes down here. They were trying to get up all the guy wires that are here. He designed it to get rid of those. And so that there would actually be a new pole here, and it would be a new pole here and a new pole here. But then Edison said, I don't know if we want to do that. So the idea was that the only thing in the way here, it's not the same overhead. The overhead is from, there's the pole. The overhead is from here this way. And by doing what they were going to do, they would take the tension out of here, which would allow us to be able to get in there a lot easier. So we felt that we got the power poles out of the wires out of the way for this. And if necessary, we could shift this over. But then we'd have to put some more sewer in. So it can get costly real fast if we start moving things and have to put more sewer in there. So, but this could be done without too much work from Edison.
What's the cost of that plan?
This is 1.5 million. Edison hasn't told us how much they're going to charge us. And all 3 alternatives that are in the back are going to have Edison charges.
So that's coming either way.
That's correct. Unless we put in the cost.
Right, of the 3.
But the alternative 3 is not as much of an issue with the wires, right?
Correct. We got everything away from the
Because you
wires.
moved it over to the side.
Right.
Seems like that would be better.
aren't there wires along here too?
Yes, the wires go this way, and then from here that way. There's 1 or 2 wires here that may be able to come down.
In the storage tank in alternative 3 is the same size as alternative 1? Correct me if I'm wrong?
Correct.
Okay, it is the same. Okay.
And what's the cost of 3?
$2 million.
It's in budget, barely, right?
Right.
Not taking
In
into
regards
consideration.
to alternative 3, we won't be able to use that structure that's already there. That's gone.
Correct.
That's gone.
Now,
And it does, oh, sorry.
is this all city land, or is some of it?
We have, this is all private property that we have an easement over. Our easement is this shape right here.
I can't see.
You just take the whole thing.
He's over there.
He's behind
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry, I thought you-
Yeah, no, he's over there.
Big plan.
I thought you- So this is the shape of our easement. And as you can see in alternative 2, we weren't using all of it. I mean, right now, his walls are, this is our easement right here. And here's his wall, his wall. All the alternatives are good. They all have benefits, they all have limitations.
So you would feel relatively equally comfortable with any option?
Yes, because they're all engineered very well. They would all work fine. I
And
am,
maintenance expected to be approximately the same in each of these.
correct, very good question. Yes. These are all well designed. We wouldn't bring you an alternative that had holes in it.
Capacity-wise, is it meeting today's requirements or meeting tomorrow's requirements as well?
Today's requirements look like that's what it should be in the future, and these do. These provide at least 2 hours of downtime before there would be any kind of a spill. And that's if it's at the worst time of the day. If it were at night or later on, we might have as much as 8 hours response time before there would be a spill. So that is today's standard.
Are there expenses expected other than the electrical, in addition?
Those, not that I know of.
The estimates?
Nothing as important as that. New poles and things.
And your estimate of 1.5, does that include the 30% overage that you were talking about? Okay.
No, I'm sorry. No, those were just construction costs.
Okay.
The 1.5 would fit within the $2 million budget.
Okay, given the
We have $2 million
overages.
already.
Okay,
Thank you.
and if you had to replace the box, you said 300,000?
Approximately.
So at worst case scenario, you got in there and found it cracked or something and thought it isn't worth repairing, your 1.5 just became 1.8.
Right.
Okay. Which is still a couple $100,000 over,
Right.
yeah.
Less than.
I'm sorry to go backwards, but just real quick, what makes that one the Cadillac over the other ones?
Everything's brand new and designed as we like it, meaning this is all new sewer.
Right, the manholes?
This is all new, so we're not reusing the existing sewer that goes down here. So this is all new,
Oh,
all the sewers,
okay,
everything brand new,
okay,
everything brand new, a
okay.
meter vault, a new generator, etc.
And that's why it costs a little more,
Right.
okay. But it's ready to last for a long time.
Right, we had the question before. I think they all have the same life.
Right, okay.
They all have the same life expectancy.
Yes.
Have we done other projects like this recently? Or do we generally do all new, or do we try to reuse if it's?
We normally do all new.
Okay.
We try to do all new. We don't always do all new, but we try to. But when you have a concrete vault that has big storage availability,
Sure.
we want to use that.
Certainly.
So,
Does 2 have the most storage ability
no,
out of all of them?
no. we designed this, that's 17 feet deep. So that has more, I'm sorry, it has a little bit more here than there.
You measure that, how many cubic feet it might hold, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a
Yeah.
little, the capacity is just slightly higher than
Uh-huh.
the old one? So it's,
Right.
you're not, it's brand new, but you're not really adding much more capacity to it.
Right.
Okay.
Aside from the concrete structure and the sewer lines, is there any concern with not using? Is there a concern with the sewer lines not being new, like in the Cadillac?
I didn't hear the question.
On option 2, since the sewer lines aren't brand new, I was asking if there's a
Put
concern.
liner on the inside.
Okay,
And that liner is as good as new sewer.
okay, thank you.
All right. And that's included in the
Uh-huh.
cost.
What would you consider the strongest argument against alternative two?
Reusing the structure.
Reusing the vault.
There are going to be unknowns. You cannot take out all the unknowns.
Right.
You can only minimize them, and you never know.
But the assessment is included in the estimate.
Yes, the most assessment possible, which is the latest technology of infrared this and calculations and dig down and look and all those kinds of things. Having a licensed structural engineer do all the assessment and then beef it up a little bit too.
In alternate 3, is there anything being reused in that one?
No.
So it's all brand new as well? Huh?
Yes.
Is there,
I'm sorry, excuse me. We're reusing this piece of sewer here, but we put a liner in it, so this is good as new. Same with this piece of sewer right there. If we took you back there, you'd think, because there's huge trees back there and they hang over both sides.
You can see it up here.
We have to,
You can see it in the picture.
right, you can't even see the station.
No.
So we have to do some tree trimming too.
is there any concern with the foundation of where it is now, like in relation to all the rain that we've had and trees falling over and all that? There's, okay, so that, the foundation
We're
isn't
gonna-
an issue.
We're going to cut back those trees in a major way as part of the project. We're going to try to right down the property line.
In summary, this is 2.2 million. This is 1.5, and this one,
2 million.
2 million.
But none of those can include the 30% you have to tack on for
Right.
the other things. So,
We're just talking construction.
right. So the only one that really stays within the current budget is number 2, correct?
Correct.
Are we all leaning against any of the cul-de-sac options?
I'd say
Only
that
one, but
I'd be totally against it.
I
Totally.
I don't think 4 should even be an option
Yeah, I think I take that. Yeah, you can tell that to the board. We all decided.
because of the,
That's
not
a
only
good-
Or 4's out.
not only the impact on the neighborhood during construction and after, but the environmental, the chance of the environmental impacts if something goes wrong.
Plus one guy, like you said earlier, one guy's gonna like it, one guy's gonna hate it.
Yeah.
You know, like, let them just do it, you know, forget that. You're gonna say, you're saving a neighborhood squabble.
Now, the way I'm looking at that, if we go with 2, and we have problems with that existing structure, the existing vault, is that what you call it?
Yes.
And problem with the existing lines, we morph that into the Cadillac.
Yes.
The worst case scenario, that ends up being the Cadillac anyway.
Right.
but you get a chance at significant cost savings.
Correct.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Now you know why we're here.
Would you inspect that vault before you do anything else? Would that be the first thing done?
Yes.
Okay, so before any other purchasing or the vault would be inspected, and then it would see if it will
It's
work.
like
Or
a $15,000 item. to do all the testing
Mhm.
and calcs. in this
You
case.
said that would be done before it's proposed to the board.
No, that would be done before we do anything else on the project, before we continue, that would be the first design item if we're gonna go forward.
With two.
Correct.
Anything else you wouldn't care because it's all going out.
But that's kind of a good point.
Do you want to spend the 15,000 now?
Oh, to test it? Okay, well, I was just saying, why propose it if the vault hasn't been tested yet?
Because it's been in service and it's still there.
Okay.
Well, and if you knew for sure, if the board knew for sure they didn't want to spend this much money,
Right, we
then.
need 800 more thousand.
Yeah, that's,
We need 800,000 for that.
Over budget.
We don't really need any money for this.
yeah.
All right.
Assuming we can get through the wires and testing comes out right and all that.
And the above-ground testing, it says it looks pretty good.
We haven't done the testing.
Well, I mean, on your infrared testing.
We haven't done that.
Oh, I thought you said you did.
No, that's
No.
part of the plan.
But there's a reasonable belief
Right.
that
it hasn't fallen apart yet.
that it's going to be functional.
It's been there since 1953. I've been inside it, many other people have, and it looks fine.
Not going anywhere.
Right.
You're saying that the assessment could be a prerequisite to proceed with the rest of alternative two, right?
Right, we would not do all this work and then at the end of the design, start testing that. We would start with that. We wouldn't move too far forward with the rest of this until we did that.
Yeah.
So is there anyone for alternative one here?
No.
No.
I have to cut out. I vote for alternative 3.
So it looks
That's my choice. Just because we're
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm not necessarily making a motion, but it seems like the main decision the board wanted was cul-de-sac or no cul-de-sac, and then they'll probably, use their expertise on it, but I might suggest if there seems to be consensus that we vote against the cul-de-sac and are leaning towards 2, with sort of that contingency testing, that
Yes.
Why do you guys want 2? Because it's cheaper?
mostly, yeah, unless it's relevant.
Well, that's a
But
factor.
3 is within budget.
No.
I thought you said
No.
it was 2 million.
Yeah, but that's not with the 30%.
That's not with the
extra 30.
30%
We
tacked
need
on.
600,000 for
Okay, I
this
forgot. So
design.
it'll be over budget then.
Yes, that's the only one that's in budget.
That leaves us with number 2 then.
It just doesn't
There
make
you go, we're done.
it just doesn't make sense to me to if the life of all of them is equal and the maintenance on all of them is essentially equal. It doesn't make sense to spend a bunch of extra money if you don't have to.
Great.
Is there anybody else thinking alternative 3?
Wilson, you go.
Oh, yeah.
Even with replacing the vault, it's still going to be cheaper than any of the other two. Yeah,
So
I
think you've done a great job. You're down to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Which there's no reason to, if you're going to do that, there's no reason not
To
to
do-
do this.
yeah.
So if you don't like the cul-de-sac, this.
Cul-de-sac's definitely out. We can
This is
put that one
cheaper than
down.
that, and essentially the same thing. So these are really your choices now, is what you've gotten down.
These are really what?
You're down to these 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we
So-
discussed. And we can propose both. We
Yeah,
can,
but I think we
we don't have
close to
to
it.
narrow it down to one. We can propose both.
So then I would move to recommend to the board alternative 2.
I second.
Yeah.
Could I make an alteration?
I'm going in that.
2 pending testing, then if not,
Well,
That goes up.
without saying, but then do we recommend 3, obviously, then if the 2 testing doesn't work out?
well,
Well, I think it might be back to the drawing board at that
Okay.
point, right?
Okay.
well, if the testing doesn't work out,
We have to go back to the board anyway.
we go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
We would stop the project.
All right.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry. The testing's gonna happen during design, not construction.
Right.
So if the thing doesn't test out, we take a step back, go back to the board, say, this is what we got.
Okay.
So we'd probably still be looking at either of those.
And again, we can recommend alternative 2, or we can just say we recommend alternative 2 or 3. and leave it up to the board to decide.
I strongly prefer to.
Yeah.
I think we should pursue that alternative until there's reason not to.
Do we want to make
Yeah.
absolutely not for part of the motion for what we're recommending?
Yeah, 4's out.
Yes.
So everybody was against the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And we recommend
So-
alternative two.
Yes.
And if
Yeah.
not, alternate 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
Is there-
Okay, you have a motion that's made and seconded. Did
We
you
need to call for.
ask for discussion and then ask for a
Any
vote?
further discussion? We've had discussion. Anybody else want some more? I think we've done this.
Well, why don't you take a vote, make sure you.
Okay, all in favor of,
Raise your hand.
alternative 2?
Aye.
I think it's unanimous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And absolutely not for.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not for, yes, but if not, yes.
I would be very interested, though,
2, 3, 1 would be the direction we're
to,
going,
to
and
know
no 4 at all.
what the workers, the people actually doing the work after you talk to them, I would be interested to see.
As I mentioned and Scott mentioned.
Sounds like they're
gonna come
leaning
in
that
here-
direction.
They're going to come in here and say, not that.
Okay.
Then I need to meet with them about these 3. I've already shown them to them.
Right.
A number of times.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what they have to say, but I don't think it would change my vote at all, or my opinion at all.
Okay, we're gonna close it out and say it's, option 2 for the,
Not for, yes on 2, and maybe 3.
okay.
Not 2.
Thank you.
That's a great job, you guys.
correctly.
Round of applause for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, your expertise.
You're also experts in engineering. Thank you.
We're on ordinance number 124, number 5, is that right?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So before you is a proposed ordinance that we will take to the board, ordinance number 124. And if this is approved, this will authorize the general manager to issue refunds less than $5,000. It will also authorize the general manager to sell surplus equipment and supplies that are less than $5,000. Anything over $5,000, it would go to the board. This was presented to the board yesterday for discussion. The board did have a couple of suggestions that if the ordinance is approved, they would want staff to bring back every month on a consent calendar for their board meeting a list of refunds that the GM issued and a list of equipment and supplies that were sold. We also were directed to give some more research because one of our board members believes that any items that are up, no matter what the value is, needs board approval. So we're doing some more research on that. Along with your attachments is some comments that were made by Mr. Mosier, Jim Mosier, who submitted these comments, and you'll see some suggested changes, some red line changes. Staff told the board that staff nor district council has any objections to these recommended changes by Mr. Mosier. So we will bring those changes back to the board for consideration. What we're seeking today is some comments, feedback from the CEC, and also the recommendation is to recommend the board adopt ordinance number 124 with the recommended changes by Mr. Mosier.
I had a question really
Yes.
quick. I could have sworn we approved an ordinance 124 in December.
No, we had a proposed ordinance. We did have a 124. It was never adopted. The board told us to wait a while. They wanted some more information. I think they want to wait like 6 months. So that kind of negates that number. So when we bring that back, well, it'll be a new number.
Okay, and then in the section on refunds,
Yes.
it says specifically, and it was different than the summary we had, the authority in this ordinance is limited to sewer and trash refunds, but in the actual ordinance it says it isn't limited to them. What else would that include then?
That's a good question. No, it would just be sewer and wastewater refunds. So I'm sorry, where did you catch that? Was that in the ordinance itself or the?
In the ordinance itself, 4.06.010.
Got it, yes.
The last part of the refund says such authority shall include but not be limited to sewer and trash refunds. But if it's not, shall include but not limited to. What
Yeah, so I'm saying, what other can there be refunds for? I'm trying to think. Because that's what they usually, yeah, I don't know. I think it's possible just to keep the door open in case there are other items that residents do pay us that aren't sewer trash related, we can refund them.
But in research you're gathering for the board, that would include any other examples?
We could, yes, definitely.
Connection fees considered sewer?
Could actually be sewers, yeah, that's sewers, yeah.
Can you give us examples of equipment that you would want to sell?
Well, equipment less than $5,000.
Yeah.
iPads, be some, file cabinets, tables, stuff like that, yeah.
This is stuff that you're replacing, like this is old and you want to get
Right,
new.
right.
So we're going to sell,
Yes.
how would the means of disposal be? How would you sell it?
A lot of times we go to an auctioneer.
Okay.
We go to an auctioneer, and they would auction it off for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm all for making your job easier, giving you guys flexibility, but how frequently would you guys do these things if this ordinance was already in place? Whereas right now you have to go, I guess, to a board meeting to get approval, right?
Yes, yeah. If you look at ways back, they were doing a lot of refunds, but I think recently we've tightened up our finances, and I'm seeing fewer and fewer refunds being made. And as far as auction surplus, again, I haven't seen a lot of surplus properties and supplies being auctioned. Some of the large items we have, like our vehicles, or we definitely done that before. I don't foresee it increases substantially. And again, anything that we do auction off or anything we do refunds, we want to be transparent, and so every month the board will see that, they'll have that information. So,
How did staff arrive at the $5,000 number?
I don't have an answer for that. Sorry.
Sky?
No, it's right here, not up there, right here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can get that back to you. I don't have an answer for that. How do we come up with 5,000? It could have been just some research staff was making and determining that maybe we had. It'd be just more efficient if we have refunds are less than 5,000 rather than going to the board. It can be done by the general manager. Get the residents their money back sooner.
It's a pretty common number for what's considered material for small and medium-sized companies. Material meaning like if it's not above that, then you don't really need to report it as its own separate thing. So it seems to like kind of gel with best practices for small and medium-sized organizations.
So seeking action from our direct recommendation from the committee on this.
I'm sorry, I have one question.
Yeah,
So
sure.
these items will be all auctioned off?
Yes.
Approved?
Yes.
So all employees, it wouldn't be like, me just, hey, I see this iPad is now obsolete. Can I buy it for X?
Yeah, no, we wouldn't do that. We're not going to open it to the public and say, hey, I got an iPad, come on in and give me your best offer. We'd give it to the auctioneers and you would go through them.
So I would move to approve with pending edits that the public had submitted.
Thank you.
A second.
I had a quick question, I'm sorry, just to clarify.
Sure.
So the board isn't going to vote until they get your research back?
Yes, our intention is to bring this back on March 28th, so it shouldn't take us that long to find that information.
Okay.
I did have one other
No,
question.
I was
Sure.
going to, but since
Are
we don't
these
meet
items
again
in
later.
regards to items that are only expensed or items that are also depreciated over time?
I would depreciate, yes, all that stuff, yes. Yeah, everything, correct. I think I think there's a motion on the floor. I have a second. I'm on to you second, you're correct. So I just need some action.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
I'm going to abstain.
I'm going to abstain too.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
That's good, thank you.
Yes.
So, We're on ordinance number 125 now.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So this proposed ordinance, if adopted by the board, does two things. One, it establishes the general manager the authority to set the hours of operations for the facilities. Right now, what I do, like during the holidays, like if the holidays fell, like if a Christmas fell on a Tuesday, we might close on a Monday, for the staff. A lot recently, or not recently, but past few years, the day before Thanksgiving, we'd close at noon to give staff ample time to travel. I've always bring this to the board to get their approval, but the board said, "Hey, we don't want to do this anymore. Well, you guys go ahead and do it. Put it in the ordinance." So that's what we did. So we put it in the ordinance for the board to consider. The other item is on this ordinance is regarding restrictions to facilities, and the purpose of that. There are people out there. I don't know if you've seen them. They videotape public agencies. They believe they have. Well, they do. They have a constitutional right to videotape public agencies. And really what they try to do is they really try to create a confrontation with the public employees, and they put it on YouTube, and they make it look really bad is what they're trying to do. And legally, they can come in this lobby, they can go in our parking lot, and they can videotape our facilities. They can do that. It's fine. The concerns we have is if they go in the yard, because the yard is not really intended for public purposes. Now, they can videotape the yard from the sidewalks, but what we don't want them is going inside the yard, because we have big trucks going in and out as well, for their safety. So we don't want them going inside the yard. But what we have to do is post notice outside and say and post our code. Say this is a restricted facility per the code. And if they violate that code, then it's a misdemeanor. We can actually arrest them or cite them if we need to. So that's what this ordinance does. If it's adopted, we can post those notices on our yard to say, hey, this is a restricted facility. So that's why this ordinance is before you. And again, comments here from Mr. Mosier in red. And again, staff presented this to the board, and we told the board that we have no concerns with these changes, and district council had no concerns either. So if it's okay with the CAC, we will make these changes and present it to the board for adoption.
I have one question. You said that in the board minutes there would be no, or the agenda was running, there's no financial impact. And I don't know the PTO policies, but if you say, hey, we're going to close at noon and you have hourly employees, is that like a forced closure and they have to use PTO?
They have to use their time because it's not an approved vacation by the board. So our policy, so let's say, for example, if like this year we closed the day before Christmas or the day before New Year's Day, right? That's not an approved holiday by the board. So and staff has two options. They can take their vacation hours, or they can actually come here and work. They come in to work, but we're still closed to the public.
Oh, it's only to the public, so they could still elect to
Yes,
work if they
correct.
Gotcha. And generally speaking, do most staff members have a PTO to participate?
Yeah, most do. I'll have maybe a couple that don't want to use their leave time, so they will come in and work.
So it wouldn't necessarily be mandatory that they can't come in?
Correct. That's correct.
Thanks for clarifying.
How do you currently notify the public of holiday hours?
Social media, website. That's how we do it. Yeah.
And it's pretty minimal. It would be like major holidays. It's not like
It's only exactly. If you look historically, it's always been around the Christmas, Thanksgiving time. We change the hours a bit.
And like the previous ordinance, even though you would need approval ahead of time, would you give a recap to the board so they're aware?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always every week I give them an update, and so I always let them know our plans. Definitely.
And any type of emergency would trump somebody's time off anyway, so if.
Oh, yeah. So if.
That's not even an issue.
Correct. So if we're closed and we have a sewer spill, yeah.
It's all hands on deck.
Yes, exactly. We're all here. Yes. Or this is, at least the wastewater division is, some of the administrative staff might not have to be here, but the wastewater staff will be here.
I'd like to make a motion that we take the staff's recommendation.
Take the staff recommendation. I second that.
Can I clarify, do you mean the public comment? Or
Good.
You mean approve the ordinance with the public comment changes?
Yes.
Okay.
Is
Thank
that
you.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
Same with.
Move it with the changes as proposed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
changing the CAC meeting date to the third Wednesday of every other month. And I just wonder whether we ought to abandon the meeting every month. I know that was what the intent was here, but
Didn't we do that last month?
if we're going to abandon it for every month and have it every other month, I think we ought to have some option there to invoke an extra meeting if the circumstances call for that extra meeting. I don't think we ought to lock ourselves out of the facility here.
Right, I agree.
Well, and exactly right. In fact, if
No,
you
we're
recall,
not. We
your,
didn't.
your last meeting, last February was a special meeting. Because remember, you approved every other meeting. So technically last February, you weren't supposed to have a meeting. But we had a special meeting because we wanted to talk about the solid waste rates. So if an issue comes up and it's on your plan a month that you're not supposed to be meet, we will reach out to you, see if you're available so we can have that meeting. This issue right here is actually changing. Your standard day right now is the second Tuesday of every month. I'm sorry, second Wednesday every month. This is third Wednesday, and the reason why is actually Chairman Carey made that request because he's now teaching at OCC on Wednesday evening, so he can't. That's why he hasn't been here the last couple of weeks. So he was requesting if the CAC is okay, changing that for the third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Every other month. Thank you. Every other month.
To confirm that would be May 15th would be our next meeting?
Yes.
You know what? We could change that to say to the third Wednesday of the scheduled meeting because I don't think we want to say every other month, but if it's every other month, that's when it is. And if we change that to something, we ought to be able to have the flexibility to do that. So I don't know we have to put in the word every other month in it to third Monday, to the third Wednesday of the scheduled meeting.
Sure.
But he was saying that would only be for the regularly scheduled meetings, and we could still call special meetings.
Sure.
That's required.
Sure. Third Wednesday of bi-monthly meetings, something like that. Third Wednesday of bi-monthly meetings. We could put it that way. But I know I hear where you're going. We'll take out the word other, and I know what you're saying. So.
I think it's the third Wednesday of the meeting.
Okay.
Meeting month.
I was
The meeting
just
month?
going to ask if it would make sense to wait until if we have new members coming in to see what their schedules are.
That's a good point too. Sure. Sure.
But if we want to schedule it so Chairman can be here for the next
Yeah,
meeting in May.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could change at least the next meeting and then put it as an agenda item.
Sure. We could, sure. So we could change it for the next meeting, and we'll put it back on there, see if you want to keep it as a third Wednesday. Sure, we could do that.
Okay.
Or keep it as the second Wednesday for right now.
Well, no, so the next meeting we're going to do is, in May, it's going to be the third Wednesday. So you're approved for Wednesday, then we'll still bring this subject back in May to see if do you want to do it on a third Wednesday, or do you want a second Wednesday? Or do you want a fourth Wednesday? We'll just put it up there.
Third, and we'll confirm it.
Correct, thank you.
Actually,
Thank
will
you.
the meeting in May have new members, or would that be?
Yes, we will have new members in May.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Do we have a motion or?
You know, this is an oral report, I think I got direction, so I'm good with that. So I do have at the closing item, I do have a few comments to make, though, if that's okay.
This is on committee member and staff comments?
Yes.
This is the staff comment,
Yes,
right?
yes, thank you, thank you. Let's see, well, a couple things. I did print up a couple of, if you saw the Daily Pilot, a couple of stories in the Daily Pilot that was on their website. The first one I wanted to let you know, yesterday, the board did approve your recommendation for the solid waste rate study. As you may recall, you approved option number 2, which would be a flat rate for all the cart sizes for the next 5 years. The board did approve that, and so we were preparing a notice to be going out in the mail on April 4th, And so you'll be getting a notice in the mail, and then the board scheduled a hearing on May 23rd. So if they adopt those rates on May 23rd, it'll go in effect on July 1st. So be on the lookout for that notice. And then also, yesterday, there was another story that the board approved contributing $50,000 to the temporary bridge shelter, the homeless shelter, that the city has worked out with the Lighthouse Church of Nazarene, and the Mercy House is operating that. I'm going to be giving them a check tomorrow, and I believe the shelter is going to be opening on April 1st. So, April 1st. April 1st. So very excited about that. And lastly, I do want to mention, as we discussed, May is our next meeting, which means tonight is our last meeting for several community members that are on a one-year term, and that is Sue Lester, Jana Oak, Monty Fields, Tom Brennan, and Shane Smith. And we want to thank you very much for your service. I do want to mention we do have 3 citizens that have submitted the applications for the CAC, but that does not mean if you want to continue, we would love to have you. You can still submit your applications, and you can still be a part of this committee. If you're also available on March 28th, which is the regular board meeting, the board would like to recognize you for your service. So if you can be here, it'll be really beginning of the meeting, so we'll get you out quick. So at 5:30. So if you could be here on March 28th, that'd be fantastic.
So they don't have to resubmit. Can they just send a note to you to say, I want to resubmit? Or do you have to go through a big procedure?
What do you think?
Big procedure.
Big procedure.
There has to be a big ordeal.
I think just to be fair for everyone, just probably have to submit the applications to be fair for everyone. So it shouldn't take that long, right? Yeah, it'd take a few minutes.
Can you give us I'm not in this group now, but can you give them a copy of the one that they submitted so they can copy it?
Sure, you can copy it. Yeah. So, so that's all I have. Again, thank you for your service. Just an example here with this pump station. There was a lot of great discussion, great questions. It's helpful for the staff. It's helpful for the board. We really appreciate what you're doing. So thank you very much. And that's all I have, Mr. Vice Chairman.
I think that this board is trying to work with the organization here to move things along in a positive manner, not trying to interrupt, but to get things happening. So we appreciate your service too, because that's exactly what you're doing. So.
Well, you make my jobs easier, I tell you. It's very, thank you very much. Thank you.
You do a great job as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
So if we, through the committee members and staff comments, I guess we move to adjourn. Somebody want to move to adjourn?
I just want to say thank you for these really cool shirts.
Oh, you're welcome.
I want to say thank you too.
Yeah. Gina did a great job. She
I have a comment.
You all deserve it, believe me. We are really proud of all of you, and we really appreciate all your help you do.
Well, I think from what I see here, that there are issues being raised that are not obstruction, but just trying to be sure things go well for the community. And I think that the attitude of this board is with the community and with you having some flexibility to get the job done.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great partnership. This is working out very well. We're very pleased how this is working out. Yes.
And I have a comment. This will be my last meeting. And I can't be at the board meetings. That's been a problem I have. I'm also a teacher every Tuesday and Thursday night. So I can't make the board meetings. I might consider reapplying, but I do have that issue, and I'm not available for most of the year on Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Good to know. Thank you.
And I've really enjoyed and learned a lot.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
Is the meeting still going to be on Wednesday?
The third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday,
Okay.
yes.
You have a conflict on Wednesdays? You don't?
Myself, no.
Okay, great.
He was just talking about the
Going to the board meeting.
The board meeting.
Oh, the board meeting,
So
okay.
backing up what we do with seeing the board meetings firsthand if it's not available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For your presentation.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
Very much. So we need to adjourn? Are we adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
All right.